What a program we have designed for you tonight, a bespoke artisanal effort that I think you are going to truly love. And Patrick McGee is going to be here. He is discussing... They call them McGee heads. That's the fandom, the Patrick McGee fandom. Here to discuss his new book about how Apple's actions in China shifted the entire global economy. The book is phenomenal. For a book about Apple, it's banana. That's a little, it's a fruit pun. I don't know about you folks, but me, I'm on the pins and needles. I'm very anxious right now. I'm very nervous, very anticipatory. And it's not about whether Russia and Ukraine will be settled. It's not whether somebody can stop Netanyahu. Somebody, please. It's not whether Taylor's unfriended Blake. I don't know. No, like most people in America, I am most looking forward to reading a book. But when? When?
We're back with breaking news in our politics lead and a brand new excerpt from my upcoming book with Axios' Alex Thompson. It's called Original Sin. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's on Biden's decline. It's called Original Sin. I'm sure you've heard on May 20th. That's Tuesday. Original Sin. That's coming out in 3 weeks. On May 20th. That's just 19 days away. In 1 week and 1 day. Coming out in just a few days. Comes out Tuesday. You will not believe what we found out.
Don't news people have to tell you what they know when they find it out? Isn't that the difference between news and a secret? You won't believe what we found out. No, that's why I'm watching. Breaking news in a week. Now, I don't know how the rest of the country is feeling about this book coming out, but I know New York is hyped. New York City, baby! The city! The city that never stops reading. That's our motto. Our motto is... I'm kidding, of course. That is footage from the reopening of the Frick Museum. By the way, it is New York, so you know the real name of the museum is the Collection. They just put it up there like, hey, the friggin' collection? What are we doing here? So what is this Bombshell book about?
A new book is outlining new claims about former President Biden's physical and mental health. The book, Original Sin, claims Biden's health had become so severe that there were internal discussions about putting the president in a wheelchair.
He allegedly was napping during debate preparations.
Another bombshell. Former President Biden apparently forgot the name of his longtime aide, Jake Sullivan, and called him Steve.
My God! To be fair, when you forget a white guy's name, to be fair, and I say this with respect to the Bombshell, Steve is not a bad guess. I think even Jake Sullivan at some point was like, is my name Steve? Because when I look in the mirror, I could be a Steve. Or Scott, maybe a Craig. The point is, the American news media were hungry for more.
A new Biden bombshell.
Dropping bombshell allegations.
A steady drip of new revelations.
Damning claims.
Damaging new details.
Oh, my goodness, they're dripping with details. A massive tsunami, the drip drip on Joe Biden's decline.
My God, Fox News built an entire Biden sucks border wall to hold back the raging drips of details and bombshells. Nothing could slow down this coming feeding news frenzy about Biden's cognitive health, other than maybe a report on his actual physical health, which was not good. But now we got ourselves a little problem. You've prepared an entire smorgasbord. Smorgasbord. Charcuterie board. You know what I'm talking about, meat and cheese. You know what I'm talking about. Entire smorgasbord based on what you thought would be a relatively uncomplicated story about mental decline. News has the countdown clock. They got the book graphics. They got the CNN Happy Meal tie-in toys. But now, doing the story seems almost disrespectful. Can CNN thread the needle? How do you pivot from excitedly promoting your anchor's book to somberly and respectfully promoting your anchor's book?
Biden's health was very much in the news even before the cancer diagnosis was announced on Sunday. That's because of a new book by CNN's Jake Tapper.
This was already going to be a tough week, and this makes it much harder. And that is a reference to the fact that our colleague, Jake Tapper, and Alex Thompson have a book that's set to publish on Tuesday.
This very tough news, this very challenging news, and at the same time, the backdrop of our colleague Jake Tapper's book with Alex Thompson coming out this week.
It's so hard. It's such a difficult time, so unfathomable in terms of the pain this family must be feeling. And yet, if you act now, and you use the code / tap that book, you will obviously this 20% off offer is not available for some reason in Tennessee. But the point is, forgetting about the fact how weird it is that the news is selling you a book about news they should have told you was news a year ago for free. It's just fun. It's just fun to watch them not only continue to push the book in light of this difficult news, but to actually frame this difficult news as perhaps even more of a reason to buy this book.
The timing of former President Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis is certainly dramatic, coming on the eve of a blockbuster new book about his health and his time in the White House.
Go on.
I'm sure some observers will say that the reporting in the book is even more important now.
Yet nobody's saying that. No observers will say it's more important now. Some observers might think, do these CNN people work on commission? Like, why are they hawking this fucking thing? Is this a Girl Scout cookie situation? Whoever sells the most Tapper books gets a schwinn. Now, well, that is not necessarily the model they will get. I don't want to disincentivize people from working hard, obviously. I don't go through all the graphics before the show. While CNN had to shift from somber and caring to always be closing, Fox and the rest of the right-wing media had a very different problem. How to shift from, let's go, Brandon, to, get well, Brandon. And then as quickly as possible back to, let's go, Brandon! Watch them work their magic and see how much weight the word but carries.
It's a terrible thing for him and his family, so I hope he beats it. But look.
I hope he beats it, but not too fast? You want to enjoy this? But what?
But look, I don't believe that they just found out Friday, but because they're not credible on anything they've done.
So true. Yeah, I'll bet he didn't find out Friday. I'll bet he found out like Wednesday. And then they were all like, oh my God, this is terrible. Should we tell this guy? And then they're like, oh, I don't know, why don't we tell the family first? And then they're like, yeah, but what if this guy really wants to know? I got to tell you, I think this all really highlights an opening in the greeting card market. We don't have enough cards that swing wildly from sympathy to accusation. Praying you get well soon, but there are some holes in your timeline. There are, I don't know, Friday, Wednesday. Anyone else want to do this butt pivot, the tush push?
Obviously, hope for a speedy recovery. I will say it does raise serious questions.
You hate to see something like this happen, but it just raised all these questions.
We're all, of course, praying for President Biden's full recovery. But the reality is,
I hope he gets over this. But
number one, very sorry for his diagnosis and wish him the best. Number two,
I am trying to make a very serious point here. And I find it very difficult to do that when you throw in a totally weird-looking dude right in the middle of it. That is not fair. That is not fair to do. That is, I don't know if that was like a green screen thing, but whatever's happening here, I imagine if I had a nodule on my prostate, this is what it might look like. I believe just a little bit. Why would you get the worst possible haircut for your head shape? Why would you do that? My head is long and thin. Amplify that. Looks like if a kosher hot dog asked for a Hitler Youth haircut. Respectfully. Yes, right-wing media deftly pivoted from concern to accusation, but perhaps the most shocking response of all was from the commander-in-chief himself.
President Trump posted, Melania and I are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis. We extend our warmest and best wishes to Jill and the family, and we wish Joe a fast and successful recovery.
That's it. No exclamation points, no all caps, no insults. Whole thing spelled correctly. It's really got all the telltale signs of a post definitely written by Donald Trump. I look at this post, I swear to God, on Truth Social. I wonder when they saw this post, Truth Social sent him a security alert. They just sent him a quick message. We noticed some suspicious humanity on your account. If this was, in fact, you, President Trump, please reply, Nancy Pelosi's husband is gay. Just reply that. But the fact that Trump responded to Biden's diagnosis with the most pro forma, bare minimum chat GPT statement was so astonishing. Even the corrupt lamestream media gave Trump his props.
This is a very traditional comment in this moment from President Trump to former President Biden.
I mean, it's a very human, very traditional response from President Trump.
I was very, very pleased to see President Trump putting forward such a kind statement.
I will note, as an ardent Democrat, it's really important that I speak up and thank President Trump for his gracious statement.
Couple of things. It is not important that you speak up at all. As a Democrat, as anything, it is not important. What he did was not noteworthy and important. Has any president, has any person ever had a lower bar to clear than, I have to salute the president. I have to salute the president. I certainly disagree with him on many things, but I have to applaud that after hearing this devastating news about Joe Biden, that Donald did not take cancer's side. Yeah, I'm f***ing swinging tonight. So important as we as Americans. And by the way, Trump maintained that level of gravitas for almost an entire day.
Do you want to respond to President Biden being diagnosed with cancer?
I'm surprised that it wasn't, the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time.
To be fair, I do think if Biden was at stage 9, we should have found out about that. I don't even know that. And he's the one that's fine, right? There's no book coming out on him. He's fine. He's, that'll be the next, stage 9 cancer. Is that, that's the kind that grows up like an ivy into a building? Not playing. But you know what? Maybe it is another cover-up. I don't know. If they came out and said, yeah, Biden knew about it 5 years ago, I wouldn't be shocked. If they came out and said Biden found out on Friday, I wouldn't be shocked. And I understand the excitement over an insidious Democratic cover-up about Joe Biden's mental decline. The thing is, though, it was a terrible cover-up because we all f***ing knew. All of us knew. There was no cover-up. Poll after poll showed vast majorities of the public thought Biden was too old and too out of it to run again. Dean Phillips mounted an entire primary campaign because of it. I really don't know if that's Dean Phillips. Is that Dean Phillips? My point is this. There is a very real person in this shot, probably named Dean Phillips. Or Steve. And he might be in the shot, but he, along with most of the public, knew that it was a bad idea for Biden to run. We knew it. And that's what's so hilarious about politicians. The cover-up doesn't work when everyone knows you're lying. And everyone knows you're lying. The tell is when you're so over the top about what you don't want to tell the truth about.
Joe Biden is incredibly competent and he's incredibly effective.
This is a man who is sharp, who is on top of his game.
He has more energy than I do. He works us all under the table.
I can't even keep up with it.
3 hours on photo lines, on 3 events a day, then giving speeches. Are you kidding?
I mean, come on! That's insane! 3 hours on photo lines, 3 events a day, that's 9 hours of photo lines! And then giving speeches, and then at night, fighting crime? I have said too much! Come on! They gotta steroid test these dudes. Look, they used to say, it's not the crime, it's the cover-up. But it's starting to feel like politics is all cover-up. Crime or not. In an attempt to hold on to power, political actors do anything they can to project a reality distortion field, when all known evidence is to the obvious contrary, and the media, tasked with covering them, has somehow ended up inside the bubble with them. So for those of you watching at home who might like to know what the reality of what they're hiding about our current president would be, look not to the Democrats. Look not to the media. Look to the president's political allies, because their hyperbole is the indictment.
Trump is one of the most transparent presidents of all time.
The bravest, toughest man in the world.
Enormous compassion.
He's only been bound to we, the people. It's frankly ridiculous that anyone in this room would even suggest that President Trump is doing anything for his own benefit.
Nobody believes that Donald Trump can be bought.
One of the most moral leaders we've had.
His pure honesty.
The most ethical American I know.
Tapper's 2031 book, it's gonna be lit!